I decided to stop, you know, jerking off for 8 months. I thought this was gonna make me faster. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. No booze, no women, no masturbation, no, you know, like it was just part of the deal that I thought I had to do to go fast because I heard it took away energy. You know, my football coach, he was smart, right? I was in this hotel room and I'm sharing a room with Anthony Medaglia, my buddy. There's 2 single beds, but there's always these Harley dudes staying there with their girls and stuff and, you know, their women. And one night it's like 2 in the morning before the cross country and this guy is just taking care of business in the room next door. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't sleep. I got the pillow. I'm like, no, dude, not now, you know? And, you know, the wind's blowing and I'm just like, yeah, you know, like, and next thing you know, I fall asleep and I starch my shorts. I have a giant, it's just starching, you know? I'm like, oh God. And I wake up, I'm looking for this girl. Like literally, I think she's there. I think it happened, dude. I think she snuck into my room. It was that real. And then I double flatted and didn't finish the race. All the air was out of my tires and out of my bag, you know, it was like done. It was so weird. So from then on, I just said, you know, refusing myself is not something I will do anymore. Until I was in probably a freshman, I wasn't allowed to have food coloring or sugar because I was super hyper. Like I would lay in bed and rub my feet together because it hurt to hold still. It actually hurt, like it felt so uncomfortable that I would feel like I had to just move. So I was always sewing machine guy, you know, like just, and you know, for the bike, my mom would say, you know, when I was just turned, I was like 20, still living at home. She's like, you know, you need to ride, you're being a dick, you know, like it's just basically, I guess, physical Ritalin. I don't know. It just calmed me. You know, when I'm done, when you're riding your bike, everything is so clear. Especially if you're going not hard, you're just at the mind blender state, you know, you're at maybe 65, 70% where you can actually have clarity of thought and not be focused on the ride in general, but what you're doing on the ride, how you're feeling, and, you know, and just thinking of thoughts. And, you know, riding my bike always made a lot of stuff clear to me. And when I'd come home, it would last about, you know, till I went to bed, probably, if it was a good enough ride. And in the morning, it started all over again. You know, you just like, kind of, I would sit there and sometimes my head is just like, it's running so quick that it's all these voices just going, you gotta do this, like tighten this bolt, and it's like clutter, just slapping through your head or all around. And I could never really make sense of some of it. And it would be like, get into my hands and I'd shake a lot and stuff. And I'm like, God, I gotta go ride or do something. And I don't really know why. It's kind of just born that way, I guess. Yeah, no, I'm as insecure as anyone, you know. I want to show people I can do what I say I'm set out to do. I don't want to disappoint my friends. Most of it's, you know, like all those Downeyville races was for my dad, you know. He always was someone you know, someone I always wanted to impress, you know. So.
Sure you did, man.
Yeah. And I still do, so. Yeah. Yeah, just he was always at the finish lines of Downeyville, waiting. Yeah, I think that was hard for him. Like, it was always hard. Because, you know, they came from a different mindset. The way that he was brought up wasn't like that, you know. You had a path, and it was supposed to be professional. You know, you're supposed to go to school, you know. And all that stuff just didn't work, you know. It didn't work for me. You know, I felt like I was just going crazy. You know, one of the guys that could just lose it in those classrooms. And at first he said to Forrest one time, not the path I would have chose for him, you know. You know, part of it, you know, he went to school his whole life, you know. His son didn't. His son just dropped out, and so, yeah, I think a lot of it was just to make him happy, and it did. Yeah, no, I had the RC car batteries. You know, I'm a big RC guy, love it. And LiPo batteries are volatile, and I had this place called the Clown Room in that back corner that my dad built to look at slides of dentistry. And it basically hadn't been touching them. They'd just been sitting there for 3 weeks or something. And the one just apparently failed. Were you ever in the garage before? I mean, it was like you could just stare at stuff all day. I had every medal I ever won, like almost 300 medals wrapped around the whole thing. You know, stuff that, you know, don't give me money, just give me a medal. That's what I want. I don't, a big deal. $200, $100. I want something to remember it. And it was just everywhere around here, you know. And when that battery went up, I was feeding Gus in the family room. He was 6 months old. And just sitting there in my boxers, you know, it's December 27th, 2 days after Christmas, and my wife's like, hey, the alarm went off in the garage. And I'm like, huh? I'm all here, hold Gus. I go to open the garage, and it's just like the most plume of smoke pushing the door. I shut it, you know, like I got wafted with the most toxic fumes, ran around the front. And I'm like, get out of the house. And I got Susie out. I'm like, get the hell out of here. It's a fire. It's bad news. But it's huge. The fire is like down to this level from the ceiling. And it's already in the roof. It was burning in the roof. And I ran around, I opened the garage door, and it opens up. And I'm like, oh, I see my bike, and there's these flames coming out of the side of this window in the garage inside that room. It was kind of torching where all the batteries were. And I had like 3 Nomads stacked against the wall, and I'm like, I gotta get one because I'm not gonna be able to ride for like at least 2 weeks or 3 weeks because they're all gonna burn and I have no other bikes. So I'm trying to get in there, and I'm like crawling down on my knees, and it's cluster in there, like electric motorcycles, real motorcycles. So you're like, you know, constantly being thin around stuff. And I go to grab them, I'm like, can't do it, I can't, it's too hot, I gotta get out. And then I'm like, I think I can get my Jeep, but it's really parked close, and I'm like, I think I know where the keys are. And I'm trying to get in there, and I'm crawling like this, and my neighbor Steve comes and just grabs my leg and just goes, and just hucks me out and just grabs me. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, dude. And I just completely lost it. I was like, just watching it. It's a lot of stuff that wasn't just me, it was my family's stuff, it was my friends. Everything was here, was a little piece of someone. And now, you know, I got a garage that it's sweet, but it sure lacks character, you know, like it used to be. And how long does that take to build character? Yeah, curl up in a corner and you're in a room at my mother-in-law's house and just sit there and feel sorry for yourself. And yeah, no, I did that stuff, you know, and I took way too many Vicodins and laid in the back berms and spun and puked and freaked out, and yeah, real weird stuff. Like, but after that fire, it was maybe the best 2 weeks of my life because of the cleanup part. Everyone was here. It took 2 weeks straight to gut the house of stuff, but it was fun. It was, you know, and now I just realize less is more, even though I still have a lot of shit, but less is more. And I don't, you know, you tend not to care about, you know, like if my kid, you know, dings my helmet or like scratches the side of my wife's car, I'm like, I don't care. I just don't care. That doesn't matter because it could just go away. You know, it's just stuff. I'm comfortable not, you know, putting the load that I have to win anymore. I always just said, like, in the, you know, last few years, it's been like, I just want to be in the mix. I just want to be respected as a rider, as a person, and to be next to people that I admire a lot. And being close, as you know, as vain as it sounds, being close in time by a time segment is, you know, like in a downhill, if I'm 4 seconds off Jerome, I'm pretty happy, you know, like I feel like I've done a good job. I'm at where it makes me happy to know that someone I truly respect, I can still be close to. And that's kind of most important. I don't need to win. I just need to know that I can be in the mix, you know, be old, be in the mix, be happy, and not be so stressed out about results. Be comfortable in my space now, you know, to know that I got here from the bike and I still want the bike to bring me to other places, but it doesn't have to be the most important guy on the bike, just one of the guys.